theme song.
The what?
We need a theme song.
Oh, yeah, we do need a theme song. Well, this will have to, I don't know, what's it?
It is what it is. Just on here trying to get some folks jumped in with it. Of course, Thursday night again.
Hey, lady. Oh, shoot. As I'm like playing this silly royalty free music, let me actually start inviting people to this interesting broadcast that we're going to have. And thank you for joining early.
Yeah, interesting broadcast.
Why do you say it's going to be interesting? I have my own reasons.
That question isn't even a romantic one. That's just like you said, that's a relationship one. Like friends, cousins, best friends, homeboys, girlfriends, all of that. Like bad for business is just bad for business. Like, and it's hard to be successful if you're bad for business.
But again, do many people even think about that? Which is why we changed the question, right? At first, I was saying, because we were talking about people being in their own way and how that actually is damaging to relationships. But again, when we started talking about, again, just in our business and how we run our life and some of the people we affiliate with, and realizing that there are some people who are bad for business, and therefore you shouldn't be in a relationship with them despite the feelings. Because again, we get caught up so much in feelings, and that to me is why some relationships that people think should have skyrocketed in their mind when they got together with the person, because they were on the feelings that they didn't evaluate, is this person going to be good for business? So that's the reason I said, not are you good for business, because most people say yes. Are you bad for business? Which is going to make most people think, what does it mean to be bad for business? Or at least I hope.
mean a lot of things.
At least I hope people will think about, are they bad for business? I would agree. I don't know if necessarily people look at it as they care, but initially
they mind they care, but in their behavior they don't.
Do people even really think about it? Do people think about, again, because we get a lot of flack about the fact that and I won't say flack, but people look at it like, oh, you guys, treat your relationship like a business and so forth and so on, as if it's a bad thing. However, again, if we were to really sit down and tell our story, which we will, from beginning to end, being good for business is why we're here today. And if we were both bad for business, our lives wouldn't have taken the trajectory that it did.
Well, it's been a whole different narrative. And that's just what it is. Like, again, I think some people aren't able to assess themselves correctly on that question. It's kind of like, rate yourself question. It's like there's a high percentage of folks that's just their opinion or idea of themselves might be a little bit higher than market value. And some people might say that includes me too.
Mm-hmm.
But I consider myself a fairly humble dude. You know what I mean? I don't.
Where's your phone? You left it downstairs. Oh, okay. I'm gonna send some stuff from your phone.
Okay, awesome. Nice dress, by the way.
Thanks, babe.
You'll probably get some critiquing on
that. Remember, I wore this in black as well. I have it in black as well. I'm going on a run. Like, I've not repeated an outfit.
Okay.
I'm not repeating an outfit since season 1.
It's about time.
Yeah, with guys, it's with
more expensive.
Yeah, not even that, but with me, they would notice. You can wear a black suit with different shirts and ties and whatever. I don't know if it's as noticeable. With me, they're definitely going to notice, especially the outfits that I wear, that she's done repeated that outfit. But again, people look at different things.
That ain't more significant. Like I said, I've made a post today. I told y'all the globe is real, like consistently improving. That's what you will see coming from this platform, and consistently better content, consistently better conversation, because we're getting better at this. We ain't even hit our anniversary yet on FYM. So we actually got quite a bit of time.
Yeah, we started this show last September, so we've got 3 months, 3-ish months. Yeah, September 30th is actually
That's
when
what
we
I'm
started the
saying.
show.
Like, we
Yeah.
ain't even hit a year yet. So, and the production value is infinitely better than
it definitely is. Our production value when we started.
Go on YouTube, fuck your feelings, the show, run back to some of the older episodes, and we started at the bottom, but we are here, definitely. And that ain't on no whatever. That's just it is what it is. Like I said, but mark my words, you will see us continuously do this, and that's without receiving a dime from YouTube or Instagram or whoever.
Because we're doing what we got to do, right? I think we believe in what we are talking about. We believe in the message. We think the message needs to be said. And we think we're the people to say it. And I think, again, there's conversations that need to be had within our community for some reason people don't want to have.
Well, the conversations are definitely changing. It's not like we're the only ones, but it's a very interesting time. Like, social media has been wild, as all y'all know. It's been a lot of talk about, it's always been. It's just that's been the dynamics of. It's been like a war more so than in other communities between men and women in the Black community, and now it's getting to the point where men are really pushing back. Like, it's. I think feeling like it's been a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially Black men, because we've been getting dragged since the 90s, 80s. It's just been the absolute worst. But yet, if you look at the culture, we're the most widespread. Black men got more options than any other man, in my opinion. But
yeah, and maybe some of you are taking advantage of some of these options, because some of these options should not be options. Let's talk about the viral video that's going around before we get into the show. Thank you for everybody who's joining. But the viral video that's going around with the young lady who is talking about her child father bringing McDonald's only for one child, and he should bring, food for her other children, even though it's not hers, because if he was a real man, and all of this nonsense. And then she fired back with coming back to defend her case in a full face of makeup, a freshly laid weave, nails and lashes that had she spent that money, her damn kids would not be hungry. So she has no sense of, I don't even know the word, because I just don't think she gets it, because she doubled down on the idea that if this man laid down with her and had the fourth baby with her, he knew she had 3 babies, and therefore him taking care of his one baby, he was helping her when they were dooga-doogooing and in a relationship or whatever they were doing before they had that baby. So now it's still his responsibility, because she gets her food stamps on the 7th or the 11th, we don't quite know when, but she gets her food stamps, but it's clear from her doubling down that she's spending them food stamps, okay, she's selling them so she can get her nails and her hair and her weave done. Girl. Yeah. People who don't have McDonald's money don't sit in cars and record rebuttal videos, but I mean, that's just me.
I agree with that. Then there's a camp just saying the whole thing was staged and fake, and I'm like, could be, possibly.
I don't think that's fake. I don't think there's anything about that that's fake. Like, he pulled up to the projects with McDonald's for the women. Like, you could clearly see that was the projects. I know the projects when I see the projects.
Here's the point I was getting ready to make, is that it doesn't matter if it was real or staged or nothing like that, because the energy around the conversation is real as hell. It's yeah, like Twin said, it's a shame we still have people who agree with her. And I mean, I don't know if that needs to get busted down, but it's like, I don't even want to get a ton of energy around the energy of, like, it's even saying to think it's his responsibility. I really started looking at it from the perspective of, this obviously ain't the first time he did that. She says that in the start of the video.
He comes like 3 days a week or something.
And he brings just his son, because he wasn't bringing food for all of them last week, and then today he just bringing food.
Well, why she was mad.
He's been doing that.
No, that's why she was mad.
He's been doing that. So why is it a problem today? She been mad about it, but that's her problem.
Is it?
Because when in her rebuttal video, she got into, oh, he still want to try to get a little knocky whatever, and I'm like, damn, that kind of dampens his argument of being like, just bro, what is wrong with you? You still dealing with her? Like,
But see, that's why I was going to play devil's advocate. Is it? Because at the end of the day, here is the thing. As much as I know we agree that a man's choice stops at procreation, after you've jizzed and you skeeted, as you like to say, in a woman, everything after that is entirely up to her. You don't get to say either way whether that baby is born. However, what you guys do have choices with is when you see a woman who is bad for business. I don't care what that business is. I don't care if your business is riding the dump truck. I don't care if your business is janitorial. I don't care what it is. Bad for business means that this is not the type of person who's going to help me elevate. And a woman who's already shown you that she's made bad choices, I'm just going to assume that those other 3 kids are not with one man. Based on the fact that he said, where are their daddies, plural, it says to me that there are multiple men. So at least 2 fathers for the other 3 children. If you go in knowing this, how could this be a woman who is good for business? If she's already made bad choices by having multiple baby daddies, it is clear, again, she is on government assistance, and no disrespect to people who are on government assistance, but when you get caught into the system and you're not trying to get out, that is a problem. You're bad for business. So he still made a choice to lay down, raw dogged her, knowing she had all in them babies that had made bad choices. So although as a woman, I look at her and think she's trash, he still chose her.
Still dealing with her. Or was dealing with her. And I'm like,
dealing with her enough to skeet.
That's a whole other conversation. And that's like one for Monday's Man Show. I might probably come back on that and talk about that. Like, fellas, I think these ladies might have crushed casual sex for us, man. That ass, because like they more casual with giving birth than we was casual with who we was sleeping with, and that's just crazy.
Not casual giving birth, sorry.
Yo, they casually giving birth.
No, that's fact. No, I laugh because it's fun. Well, for the fellas who do not have kids
One
right
night
now,
stand babies is getting born into this world. Like, what was your mama thinking? We can blame your daddy. But he just thought he was partying.
Can I give my PSA? For gentlemen who do not have children right now, apparently the top vasectomy doctor in the United States of America said inquiries for vasectomy have gone up like tenfold. So there are men right now
not even risking it.
That are simply just not risking it of just being casual with a woman because, again, if you skeet, the expectation is that this woman is going to have this baby. And now with Roe versus Wade, she cannot potentially have an abortion.
Look, man, like I said, the casual man, like we just got so much dysfunction going on in these streets, man. It's crazy, There's some people that shouldn't be having sex, period. But
there's some people who shouldn't be procreating.
They're, like, man, that sounds hella bad when I say it like that, I'm sure, but it is what it is. Like, but there's some females that shouldn't be able to get no penis, and there is some men that shouldn't be able to get no vagina, but yet it happens every day.
And listen, and that's fine. There are those class of people who exist, and we don't really speak to them, right? Like we speak to the 35, 40 plus group who have recently gotten their life together and have some standards in their life and what they want. And so for us, this is why, again, this question was such an important one, because when you are thinking about being intentional about your life, you should be intentional about the people you bring into your life. And you have to question if you have any kind of life plan, is this person going to be bad for business?
And here's how we don't flip it for a second, because we was having a conversation last night, and it kind of started developing this idea of this narrative along the lines of in 2022, in the modern world, you cannot argue that there is any entity of any kind that has been more successful than business.
Capitalism. Capitalism.
The free market, right? Yeah. Anyhow, so with that being said, wouldn't it make sense to model your personal life behind the most successful entity in modern history? Business, because they bring two entities together all the time. Sometimes it's tragic, yes, but business got way better odds than the streets do right now. You know what I'm saying?
Here is the thing. There are people who would say no, because what we are accused of when we talk about our relationship as a business is that it takes the feelings and the emotions out of it, which is always funny to me with a name called Fuck Your Feelings, the show, that people are concerned that we don't necessarily have feelings and emotions in our relationship. And then we always say we love each other very much, but our love for each other does not supersede whether or not, when we merge together, how successful we could be together.
Man, society has gotten tender as hell, and it is not for the benefit. We run the clock back, man. And, like, talking about feelings is why the world is jacked up the way that it is. Because for 30, 40 years, the mainstream has been pushing people, follow your feelings, be your true self. Man, you couldn't talk that shit in the 70s, man. People was fighting for real, like fighting for food, like trying to put food on the table. You know, it was a totally different world, and it clearly wasn't a world where somebody was going to go out of your way to avoid hurting your feelings. And now we live in a world where it's mandated damn near. You can't survive in this world unless you try to avoid hurting people's feelings. So what you wind up having to do, but again, are you bad for business? If you tender as hell, yes, you're bad for business.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to be around you like that.
And let me just, for people, explain a little bit about what that is. And I think for those who've not heard our origin story, I think the point where Rob probably was like, this woman is worth my energy, is the moment he said to me is, I could send you to a business meeting that I had if I was going to be late or for some reason couldn't make it, and know that you were going to represent my interest. I would not be concerned whether or not, if you gave me a PowerPoint presentation, gave me the rundown, that I would go in there and represent.
You'd run my play.
Exactly. Run his play and not my own. I'm not subbing in my own play. And for him, that was a moment of, wow, this woman is good for business.
Exactly. And I did say that.
You did. It was a very good compliment.
You know what I mean? Like, she's not going to change up the play. She might not like it. She might be grumbling up under her breath. whatever. But we are going to win and lose on my decisions. And she's signed up for that. And it is what it is. But since we're winning, here's much complaining. Right?
First of all, there wasn't a lot of complaining in the beginning, and we were going to win because we made a good damn team. How
Absolutely.
About that? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, but
you don't win without me, and I don't win without you. So to try it.
She covered that up real quick, but that's all good. Yeah, this lady sassy as hell. Do not let her try to.
I'm Jamaican. I think anybody who's been watching this show, I don't know if Twins Inc. is still on, but he'll probably
every once in a while I just straight up have to be like, yo, shut up. Man, what's wrong with you? Straight up, like you went too far, man.
I definitely need to be checked, but that's a whole story altogether. But again, I think we laugh at it. We some people make light of it, but if you're going to be intentional about dating, is this a good merger? is this person, I know people, we've talked about it, right? Like, again, one of, other than Rob, my part-time job is I'm a business advisor for other people's business, especially those within the startup phase. And I always tell the people that I, consult with, and I have a range of about like 35 to 50 different businesses that I'm dealing with in my portfolio of businesses, right? And I tell the people I consult with, when you're planning your business, you're not planning for the business you are today. You're planning for the business that you want to be 3, 5+ years from now. So all of the things that you might say, I don't have to worry about it today, Toshiba. I'm only an entrepreneur. I'm only a small business. I'm only generating this revenue right now. Well, if you want to actually be a business that's profitable, you need to start planning and putting in place everything that you will need for that moment where that $10,000 a year is 100, then a million, and then 10 million. Why is it that we're not looking at the biggest investment we take, which is our relationship, in the same way? And I'm sorry, guys, I'm gonna have to get on you today. Stop putting your dicks in women you damn well know you do not want forever with. Cover it up. Those women are not going to be responsible. A woman who has a plan for her life isn't going to just make you raw dog her like nobody's business. Most of those women are like, you better wrap that crap up. I'm on 65 million birth controls, all of these things. But when women
catch a lick.
Thank you. But when you're going in there with your 6 figures, over 6 inches and over 6 feet, what do you think these women are? So at the end of the day, you're making your life bad because you're making choices based on what? A woman who has a plan for her life and her future and knows where she wants to go isn't going to necessarily make a man who she doesn't see a future with, who's just a good time, raw dog her. I'm sorry, and I get it. Men and women think differently about sex. The problem is there are a lot of babies being born that the fathers didn't want.
Yeah, just what you're saying about like a woman with something going on for herself. So yeah, she's not really trying to just get pregnant by some dude she don't know.
No,
man. Like that's you. Like I said, you're trying to catch a lick. You're trying to catch on to something. And it's you can argue with me or not, but I think that there are women in this world that have had children as control mechanisms over the dude they was dealing with, who is the father or who they telling is the father. Like there's another viral video going around where dude took the little CVS couple days DNA test and the 3-year-old ain't his, and he's just like, yo, this is crazy. And she's a psychopath. She won't even admit it's a possibility.
Listen, I'm going to say something that people are going to get pissed off, but I'm going to say it. Don't care. If you are not in a relationship with a woman, you're not in a relationship, whether that be cohabitation like we are, leading to be engaged, leading to be married, do not sign the birth certificate. Do not sign that birth certificate. Do not. And the reason why I'm going to give you that advice, my ex-husband was in the military. The military does not allow, at least the Air Force that he was a part of, they do not allow the men to sign birth certificates until their DNA tests. They do not do that. They do not allow that. And so why? Because they're legally obligated. The military's, the different branches, their healthcare system is phenomenal. And so we're not about to give healthcare to potential babies. So every woman that is not a wife has to submit to a DNA test for that baby. Here is the problem, guys. When you sign these birth certificates of maybe babies, what happens is you are now legally that child's father. And until you get a DNA test to prove otherwise, and then you have to go to court, and the court will determine whether or not you can actually have your name removed and any kind of batch stuff. That woman is not going to get that. That woman is not entitled to give you child support back. Do not sign birth certificates from when you don't know if you're the child's father. I'm sorry.
What you're saying, and one thing you did put a caveat in there to the effect of if you're not a wife, like if you're a wife, they don't make you do none of that.
No, if you're a wife in the military, they do not. Even if it's stepchildren, they're like automatically.
That child was conceived within that relationship. But on top of that, I was like, man, fellas, like, all bullshit aside, man, for a second, like, because women, like, all Black Lives Matter, like, Me Too, like, any movement that came up in the last 40 years, women have developed it. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing we have to give you credit.
Yeah, we
Men don't protest shit. We don't even like to complain too tough.
But we plan. You know what I mean? We're planners.
So with that same mentality, though, fellas, if we, as a voting bloc, men, and I don't know, I think it's kind of across race, color, creed, all of that shit, man. Like, why in 2022 isn't DNA testing for the father mandatory?
It should be.
It would just clean society up.
It should be.
It would just clean society up.
Here's the problem. It hurts feelings. What I just said is going to hurt women's feelings.
And men. It's going to be some niggas with tears in their eyes.
Who are going to be really upset at the fact that I said, get a DNA test. Get a DNA test. If you have any doubt of paternity of your child, you get a DNA test before you sign a birth certificate, which a lot of people don't realize. Honestly, I wish birth certificates came with terms and conditions. It's a legally binding document.
Just forever. What you mean? Like,
it's a legally binding, a birth certificate, when you put your name as the father, is a legally binding document, whether that baby is yours or not.
Yeah, no, it's real. Like, even if you go through a name change, they don't change the name on your birth certificate.
Thank you.
You go through a legal name change, but they ain't never gonna change that name on that birth certificate. They don't like to alter that document. You know, that's why they make it so difficult for a man to get his name off of it. Because, and honestly, the argument legally is probably if you were stupid enough to sign that shit,
then you were taking responsibility for that.
Antiquated way of thinking in a modern world where DNA testing, you can go to CVS and get a fucking $50 test or some shit like that. So they don't really, but listen, we live by documents that were wrote 200 years ago. You know what I mean? We are a very interesting society.
Well, Twinsick is saying this. DNA testing will expose how much women cheat versus men.
That's what I say, to clean up society. And I'm saying it's not to the women that handle their business. That, I heard of some woman making an argument on some of these social media shows that there's women that don't know how to count their cycle, and they don't track their cycle, and they don't know, like, when they supposed.
I track my cycle. That's literally in my calendar.
You talk about grown women?
Yes.
Like, I don't understand it. Danny don't do some shit and she's learning that.
I was talking about it today.
But you mean a grown woman doesn't know when she's supposed to bleed? Like, most dudes, if they really on their shit,
the only excuse women have for that is when we're in our latter 40s and we're going to get to menopause, and the cycle is not thing. There is not a lot of women when they say my cycle isn't regular. That's a very small, minute bunch of women whose cycle are so irregular, or women going into menopause. So in my calendar it pops up, and I think Rob even knows. He's like, "Yeah, your period is coming." So for women, again, to make excuses, but again, y'all men need to counter those excuses. So I'm going to put the blame when you are in a position that you know your life is on a certain trajectory. Why are you sticking your raw penises in women? Again, remember that statement we said, stop, what do we say? Stop, oh my God, you know the one I'm talking about nothing to lose. Oh, stop giving basically women access to you who have nothing to lose, but will help you lose everything. Let me repeat. Stop giving access to women who have nothing to lose, but will help you lose everything. Every time y'all men stick your raw penises in women with whom you know literally have nothing to lose, but you have everything to lose, you are taking that chance that your whole entire life is going to blow up, and that is on you.
Yo, speaking of bad for business, I got to talk about two individuals that they've made social media, what's that one that you should not bleach report? What's the other one? Shade Room.
Shade Room.
All right. What the hell going on with the Charlotte Hornets, man?
Oh, did somebody get arrested today again?
Miles Bridges facing free agency, and the biggest check of his life gets arrested for DV.
Against whom?
Somebody who was bad for business, obviously. That's why I brought my man up. Like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing?
Well, let me go.
You're doing like we didn't learn nothing from Will Smith, man.
Let me just
like, come on. And then
charges. Let me see.
Your boy PJ Washington.
Oh my God, what is he going on
man?
with?
What? So he has him a new IG thought, and he has her name tattooed right here on his thumb. Bro, if that ain't the corniest shit I ever heard in my life. Bro, you got her name tattooed on you?
So hold on. So he went from the new Karen Steffens of the New Kids Time, Brittany Renner, to getting with another IG and then tattooing her name.
And
well, that's
she's a downgrade from Brittany, straight up and down.
I mean, there's gonna be a lot. Brittany's a beautiful woman, so there's gonna be a lot of women.
Straight up, I say you was better off dealing with Brittany if you was just gonna go. So bad for business. How is this woman good for business for you, PJ? What she's gonna do? She's gonna Lori Harvey you.
I'm not Lori Harvey.
That shit is becoming a verb. These bras, bro, they will jump on your platform, make themselves big, dump your ass, and then move on to the next dude who can accelerate. It's like Mario jumping from like how the mushrooms stack up and they just climbing up. Yo, Lori Harvey is giving them the blueprint, and some of us dumb dudes is just letting them do it to us. Michael B. Jordan, PJ Washington, the whole Miles Bridges, man. I really like that dude game, man. He's about to get paid, but I don't know what's going to happen.
No, he was back at the gym, so the team says that they're aware of the situation.
He got arrested for a felony, bro.
The team says they're aware of the situation.
She's in the hospital.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. Hold on. Okay. So continue talking because I'm just getting an update.
Yeah, it's just, but what's the point? Miles, was she good for business? What did she add to your brand? Because you can find, bro, you could have just probably tried to work yourself down to the Heat. Hit Miami up, man. They got ridiculously attractive women, if that's your only qualifier.
Okay, she required medical attention. It doesn't mean she was in the hospital. She required.
You're hard on women, man.
No, she required. No, I'm sorry. She required. Being beat up and being requiring medical attention because you might have a scrape or something is not. Again, medical attention is a very broad word. I'm sorry.
We've had these discussions. The police will not be showing up at our address talking about, are you two okay?
No, because we don't.
That's not a good look.
We don't put ourselves in bad situations.
The neighbors ain't gonna call because we ain't hearing stuff breaking and wilding and nothing like that. And neither one of us is damn sure not gonna do that because that's one of our first agreements of the no disrespectful. Yes, calling the police on your partner is very disrespectful. Like usually that's only done when it ain't nothing else going on. Like you ain't got no other way to do it.
No, again, he did fumble the bag, Twinsick, and here's the thing: definitely. It's based on choosing women who are bad for business. And let's be clear, we're not condoning domestic violence if that's what it is. But if you're with a woman who even makes you, if you're with a woman who makes you even get to that point that you want to do this, or you want to shake her, or you want to do any of that, she's bad for business. Because women who understand what it is that you bring. This is Miles Bridges. He isn't the guy playing at the Y who thinks he can make it to the NBA. This is a man, what was he, the 11th overall pick? Whatever it was. He was in at least the top 15 or top 10 pick in his class. So guess what? If he has chosen a woman that can trigger him, knowing what he has to lose, stop choosing women who have nothing to lose but will help you lose everything. I'm going to repeat it over and over and over and over and over again.
Principle. How is she good for business, bro? If you young and in the league and doing your thing, think about how hard you had to work to get there. So now you're going to bring along somebody who ain't did nothing?
Zero.
Nothing?
Listen to my boy
Drake.
Drake.
Ain't even going to be submissive to you.
Listen to my boy Drake.
Cam Newton need to start running clinics.
Listen to my boy Drake. He wasn't with me shooting in the gym. And he was saying that about a woman who had been with her man through the struggles. It was talking about Vanessa Bryant, who had been with Kobe. But when Kobe stood to lose half of his fortune, and he was like 70 or 75 million, It was like she wasn't in there with you. And what that means is if that woman isn't with you grinding, that's why nobody can say nothing to me about me and Rob, because I've been in the trenches with Rob.
Savannah James.
The trenches.
Savannah James. I'm gonna just say this. If you said LeBron James has never stepped outside of his marriage, I would look at you kind of like, are you sure about that?
That's a make believe.
I don't think that there's any proof
There will never be any
that he has. There will never be any.
Because they do
he
phone
doesn't
checks.
move like that. He don't operate like that. And I am certain if anybody knows about it, Savannah James knows about it.
And she's gonna keep that shit
and
quiet.
she's gonna keep it exactly how she's been keeping it in their family. But look at what she's done in their time together. Bronny, they was going through a little family strife because he fell from like 8 to 46 in the top 50.
Not 8 to 46.
Oh my God, not 8 to 46.
No, that's
you know
huge.
what I'm saying? That's a huge
If
drop.
Grant dropped from 8 to 46, that'd
You'd
be
be
big
upset,
mad.
but he's
I have
still
his
in the
little
top
ass
50.
out there.
You know
I
what I'm
have his
saying?
little ass
So
out
you're
there.
raising
Sorry.
your children to continue the movement, continue
The legacy.
continue. Yo, he's got the blueprint. None of that is going on without Savannah. I think LeBron totally knows that. But if she would have pulled a Vanessa Bryant on him, his entire brand would be different.
Absolutely.
Because Kobe never really recovered
He
from
didn't
none of
recover
that
from
mess, man. Not really. Like, that's why he came back with the Black Mamba. He was just like, it is what it is, black-hearted. And he did what he did. But LeBron, y'all not going to get him like that. And his wife ain't going to help y'all either.
Here's the problem. There are women who are upset at a woman like Savannah.
Yeah, they think she's fake.
No, because how dare she cover for a man who is a philanderer? How dare she accept it? Because again, they think that she is supposed to be coming out with her fist up in the air, talking about I'm an independent woman and I'm talking to and my man this, and pulling a La La Anthony and just feeling like she can just do and run and do whatever she wants. Here's the thing. If you guys are a fan of P-Valley, the recent season of P-Valley, I'm going to ruin a little bit for you, but Mercedes, there was a guy from season 1, I don't know if you remember, a coach that Mercedes used to dance for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she danced for coach, and remember he gave her an indecent proposal. And at the time, she was like, no, it was whatever. And then according to Demi Moore and the show, it was an indecent proposal. And at the time in season 1, she said no. Well, in season 2, she changed her mind. And she said to him, you know what? I'm only good with this if I can meet your wife. So she shows up to this place. His wife is there. You want to know what his wife has in her hand? A fucking contract. She says, you initial page this, and this. Initial that now. These are the terms of the agreement. This is the amount that you were getting. They had a moment. They had a conversation about it. You know, I'm not going to ruin it. But that woman came because she was like, I know my man is out there doing what, but if he's going to have the nerve to actually bring us together, this is what you're going to do.
You know what that sounds like to me?
What?
Mutual respect.
Yes. Mutual cooperation.
He ain't bringing just anybody up in here talking this crazy stuff to me.
No.
So you must be somebody to him too, and it is what it is.
You give him something else.
Again, a woman like that. See, here's the thing. Especially the more he... And look, man, like, because I know it's going to be some dudes coming after me like, oh, I'm not a cheater, blah, blah, blah. I patted myself after the same situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like it because, again, I'm not big on a woman turning me into a liar. Like, I gotta, you know, like, lie to behave the way I want to, and I'm not a fan of that shit. But what I'm going to say about it is like, fellas, man, when we... argue with me or not, but I feel like when we hear, if you cheat on me, I'm leaving you, it sounds to us like you better submit to me.
Oh.
You better submit to me.
Interesting.
My dick's bigger than yours.
I never even thought about it that way because it's a bit of an ultimatum and it's a bit of you better play your cards right. You better
play your
position.
Yeah.
Play your position.
Play your role. Play your role. You my man. It's not the dynamic of the relationship. You're my woman.
Yes.
You see that? I'm telling you, there are relationships out there where it's you, my man.
Oh no.
That sounds kind of gay.
You see, you just dropped something. You got Russell. She thinking. Russell is thinking that I never because, and it's so funny because we've never had to, guys. First of all, we've never had that conversation.
Like, honestly,
and so it makes sense for me that you are very much when I'm like, cheating isn't a deal breaker. It's yeah, man. I just be turning.
I'm not gonna give you no room to make a mistake. You cheating on me is not the same as me cheating on you. We've had the discussion.
I am a receiver. I should not be receiving multiple dicks.
Take the dick out of it. Let's just remove the dick.
So the emotionality of cheating, is that part?
Would you agree with this statement? Women don't cheat on men they love and respect.
I would agree.
Savannah James probably has not been with nobody but LeBron because she has enough love and respect to him.
And let me also add,
deal with his shit.
I'm going to also add a word, admiration.
LeBron, he again.
Right?
His record is pretty clean, man. He's been out there since he was 17. At least give him respect on that.
There's an admiration that you have when you have, like, I admire the man you are, and again, in your totality, right? Because the reason, and this is why I always use that word totality, ladies, is because we often judge our men based on a moment in time. He's done something in this moment, and therefore what it annihilates everything he's done over the past period of time. That doesn't make any sense.
They tried to come for MLK.
Oh, I mean, them the woman are idiot. So
yeah, but I mean, but idiots be leading the crowd sometimes. You know what I mean?
Idiots be leading other.
That's the unfortunate part about life is positivity is quiet and negativity is loud, and like that's what's been how the world been moving for a while. And it's crazy. But I also think that's like, fellas, this is, again, I'm trying to pattern my own life after it. I think it's not just enough to chase the bag no more. You got to lead. Like, you got to not just lead your house, but you got to, like, really be moving out here in this world. Like, do as I say, not as I do is not working.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of parents were raising their kids, and guess what? They now have women who are throwing McDonald's on the ground, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it. I have to show the kids how I live my life. Like, who am I to tell our girls, don't be cussing at your man if every day you come in here, all Danny hears is, and you're a bitch, and you're a bitch. Like, it would be like, oh my God.
And again, I would say you and my daughter, y'all know I'm pretty roguish, but there's certain behaviors I know y'all would be like, no, he didn't do that. He whipped his penis out in fries and just took a piss.
Robert.
No, Robert ain't doing that.
Like Robert.
He ain't doing that. No. But certain other things, I'm like, she'd probably be like,
that's definitely Robert.
That might be him. Okay. But you see what I'm saying? It's like, and I think it just comes back to standards. And I think, women been having their standards this whole time. They pick and choose when they enforce them. But men, we, especially black men, I'm speaking specific. My cousin dropped some math on me, man, when I was in Florida, man. He pulled up on me. He lived on the east coast of South Florida. And shout out to Jay. I'm gonna kind of spin how this is his vernacular a bit. But he was saying, like, because Florida's a very diverse place. He got white homeboys, Mexican homeboys.
Hello, I grew up in Toronto.
All that, yeah. So he was like, yo, the white boy looks at his woman like, are you going to be a good mom? Are you going to not embarrass me? Are you going to let me go out here and make this money and build us a house and make me a home? Like, that's kind of how he evaluates his woman.
Okay. He
said the Mexican man, kind of the same thing. And then I add in, are you going to deal with my drinking and passing out drunk and, like certain, a little bit of more negative behavior, but pretty much the same thing. He was like, the black man is just like, you got a fat ass. And that for real. And fellas, we got to be honest, because some of this stuff shouldn't have been happening, man. We were just knocking down chicks just because. And we should have been more selective. So I'm going to be straight up with that. Like, my son will not be raised to be like, have a high body count. It's nothing. There's no point in it. All you're doing is just giving yourself access to a bunch of women who got a chance to screw your life up.
And let's talk about how we're now raising the girl, right? Again, I have a 20-year-old, so he's got a 20-year-old stepdaughter, and we have a 12-year-old, his daughter that we're raising. One of the things that we said to her, and it's been drilled into her, is that when a little boy asks her out, because it's gonna happen, she's like 5'9", and I took her shopping today to get some stuff, and I was like, oh girl, you're not buying that. But she's growing, she is model-esque, just beautiful face. She's Beyonce's child, right? So one of the things we said to her is when a little boy asks you out, and we know high school's around the corner, you say, okay, if you'd like to go out with me, I need you to meet my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And just wait to see how that little boy responds. There are going to be the little boys who say, Mom and Dad, oh no, shoddy. I'm good. I'm not.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think I said a lot.
I'm not gonna do that.
And if a boy talks to you and you don't like him like that, or you don't want him talking to you, whatever, you just say, I don't think my mom and dad would like you. And that's gonna dead the drama right there.
And you're gonna have the young man who is interested and wants to step up, who says, what time should I come to your home to meet your mom and dad?
I'd like the opportunity to prove them wrong on that. Like, again, that's the type of young man I was. I wasn't really worried. Like, again, I'm putting on my best behavior and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But still, I was determined I was gonna have a future. Like, facts. I was dead at you. Couldn't tell me no other way it was gonna be going, because I was gonna do whatever it took. You know what I mean? And I'm older and I get sleepier quicker, but
you do get sleepier quicker.
But I still got that same type of determination. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me I ain't gonna get out of life what I want, because I ain't gonna stop until I do.
Okay, but not about you. Let's talk about how to raise this next generation of kids. That's what we need to be doing.
Bad for business. So that's one of the things you have to learn when you're on that mission, is just you can't be dealing heavily with people that are bad for business.
And you need to be, again, we're at the point where we're old enough that we should know this, but again, it's what the bad behavior has been passed down from one generation to the next. That's what we're seeing right now. And so for those of you who are parents, how are you going to have your children determine from a very early age whether someone's bad for business? So a young man in the 9th or 10th grade just looking to chop down our 5'9" daughter, okay, isn't going to be interested in coming in front of mommy and daddy to have a conversation. And so she can quickly eliminate that, as long as she's following that, and she best believes she is, okay, going to be following that, is, if you would like to take me out, you have to meet my mother and father. Because what's happening is young girls are so excited now to be going out. They're coming home telling mom and dad, oh, this guy's gonna ask me out. And the parents are like, okay, cool. And they're meeting them and taking the subway and taking Ubers to just meet these boys, because when we go to the same school, you don't know none of this. These girls lie. These kids will be lying. And so as parents, what are you doing to make sure that your children don't end up being bad for business? Because you know what's bad for business? It's having a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old, I'm going to stop at 18, pregnant, and not thinking about their future. Having your 17-year-old son come home and say, I may be the father of someone's child. Your 17-year-old son who's done AAU basketball since he was 4 or 5 years old is on a rising track, only going to chop down some neighborhood girl who ain't got shit going for her but him. That is bad for business. And it's not just about what we do, it's what we're making sure our children do next.
I appreciate the passion.
No, I'm very passionate about it. I don't play when it comes to the kids.
I agree with that.
Next generation.
So that's why, again, it is very important that you kind of be thinking of, not kind of, it's very important that you are always keeping your eyes on the prize and on the long-term goals, and that you align yourself with somebody who's going to be able to keep themselves in the same space and behave in the same manner, because you can't prepare for your future when you're constantly cleaning up your past, man. If you're perpetually cleaning up your past, you cannot prepare a future for yourself. I've experienced that, and I'm not ever going through that again.
And here's the thing, you can course correct. And I think that's something we need to be spending some time talking about. There are people who feel as if they've already made a choice and they can't course correct.
I think that's depression.
You think so?
I'm just, being facetious.
You're being ridiculous.
I'm not
I was on a roll and you said something ridiculous.
But,
Okay, let me go back.
But laying in the mud
Course
about a bad
correct.
choice ain't got no benefit, man. Like the best thing to do when you fall out is get up as quick as you can.
And again, it's difficult when you're in a marriage. It's difficult. That's why it's important to make
Everything
better
is,
choices about who you marry. But when you are in a relationship, whatever it is, a dating situation, it is okay to kind of stop and say, you know what? This person can't go where I'm going. Guys, that is the question you need to be asking when we're talking about bad business. If someone is bad for business, the question you need to ask is, can I take this person with me where I'm going?
I'm on. I agree with that 100%.
Because in the moment, it's all
It's
great. The
just-
big booty, the smile, the big dick, the all of the different things that we get enamored with. Not in love with, we're enamored with them. And it seems great and it sounds amazing. If all Rob was a big dick and looking like Beyonce, that doesn't work for me. I can't take him where I would like to go.
Oh, I'd be
If all I was a big booty and a smile, okay, Rob couldn't take me where he wanted to go. We would have both been bad for business.
And speaking of bad for business, there's another social media story going around where the young lady comes in, and again, it goes both ways. You got me thinking about that. Young lady comes home, and her baby daddy is in bed with her mama, and it's just like, she snaps off and kicks both of them out of her. She paying the bills. How is that working? They home chilling and smashing.
I'm sorry.
And her mama attitude was ratchet. Oh my God, she was the definition of ratchet. And poking, I felt really, like.
Okay, I need you to rewind. Because I got stuck at come home and mother and boyfriend are in bed.
Yeah.
Je ne comprends pas.
They got their clothes on. They trying to play it off or whatever. But it's like, yo, this ain't normal behavior for the people who ain't chopping. And she was going, and in the video, it had me bugging because she's going off. And she's like, he starts getting dressed, and it's almost like, she's like, I bought that. Don't put that on. I bought that. And don't put that on.
Well, that's your fault. Why were you buying any of that?
Your fault like that. But on bro end, I'm kind of like, yo, that's why you can't live like that, man. Fellas, that's why you can't live like that. Yo, that's not no life for a man to be up under the thumb of no woman. It's not no life for no man. You're gonna be miserable, man.
I don't
Yo, get you a job at Taco Bell, my nigga. It's better than that, I promise.
But here's the thing, those men are still getting pum pum.
Well, that's what they focused on.
And so
and again, in a certain vein, sorry to cut you off, but in certain veins, like, man, we gotta stop even acknowledging dudes like that. Like, bro, that, like, it's like you get negative points if you smashing and you ain't got no job. Like, because that's time and energy and effort
that you could have been doing working.
In a job, because you rapping, you ain't got no job. You doing hella macking.
You know what's so funny to me? This is why I find when women talk about my significant other is too busy or my husband was too busy, so that's why I divorced him. He didn't have time. Men are not supposed to have time. They're supposed to be working. I'm sorry.
But
they're supposed to be working.
That's the justification that many women have used to wreck their home, extort their husband for half of the assets that they built, and go get her some little boy toy and be her INDEPENT self. Like, the Lori Harvey thing is not really new. It's just getting more sophisticated. And that's why fellas got to really be where I'm at. If she's on your train, bro, she got to really be on your train. Don't let her jump on your train and go past you and latch on to the next one. That's the Lori Harvey.
Well, she's using, like you said, it's that
stepping stones. She's using big time celebrities as stepping stones. Because what's her talent? What she was doing? How she get on? She got on. That's what I said. Now I think she dumped Future. She used him, took a couple of Instagram shots. He was kind of looking like he felt what was going on the whole time. Because that one picture they show every time, Future does not look that happy in that picture.
She was a socialite. I don't quite know.
I think he was happy knocking her down, but he wasn't happy about them Instagram posts.
Yeah, she was a socialite. I don't.
Because that's not something he does.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like that's part of his brand.
That's why
I ain't
people
claiming nobody.
That's why people were surprised when he actually showed up in
Yeah, that's what I'm
Sierra's
saying.
video.
That's part of it. She
No, let me finish my statement. That's why people were surprised when he showed up in Sierra's video. I wasn't even talking about Lori Harvey.
Oh,
You
yeah.
were going on.
Yeah.
When he showed up in Sierra's video, people were surprised because generally Future doesn't. He's not shown around town with women, and I think that's what classified. That's why, again, him and Sierra were serious, right? Was that he was showing up in her video, he had proposed, he had done all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Lori Harvey was forcing all of that. That wasn't, again, when a woman has to force anything, anyways, it was yuck to me.
Like
but-
Miami, I think she made herself revealed as bad for business to Puff. He was like, yeah, this thing is
So, for those who don't know what Rob's talking about, if you want
that
to,
sign was bad for business.
can I explain? Again, the BET Awards honored Diddy, Puffy, whomever. Okay, he did a 9-minute speech because again, it's Diddy, and what you see is Young Miami holding up a red sign that I didn't realize was even laminated until the co-host of another show said it was laminated, saying "Go Poppy" with sparkles on it. And as they spanned it, they stood a little time on that, and then they went to Puffy as he did his 9-minute speech. Rob pointed out to me yesterday, which I never thought of, as she made his moment about her. And when I stepped back, I was like, you're so right. Because that's what the media ran with. Well, our media, the Shade Rooms, the Gossips, all of those, the Jasmine brands, they ran with that Go Poppy sign because it was just like, oh my God, look at her being, the narrative some women were saying is, look at her being supported for her man. First of all, he's not her man. He's not her man. They go together. They go together.
That was she publicly bullied him.
So they go together, whatever. But you were right. I didn't realize in that moment that this is a man who spent the last 25 years building his career, and you've been in his life for 2.2 seconds, and you come up with a sign at the BET Awards, which is like Black excellence, to take that moment and shine away from him, when again, Kim and Cassie would have never done anything. Definitely not. Kim wouldn't have done that. No, Cassie wouldn't either. It was both of them. Kim and Cassie would have never done that.
That's why he went up there and thanked
Kim and Cassie
in the universe, but her.
And Kim and Cassie. He made a point to thank Kim, his deceased child's mother, and Cassie, a woman who's somebody else's wife, and not the woman holding the sign that went "Go Poppy."
Yeah, that's why I said I think in that moment he was kind of like, yeah, she's bad for business. Like I cut her loose.
But here's the problem. Why would he ever think she was good for business? What about that woman? Again, this is why I'm going to go back to men. When you guys make choices with your penises, you don't do so well. You don't fare well. Yes, you want your penis to get a rise. As women, we want our clitoris to jump. However, if that's all it is when a man is around, is all my clit does is jump, but my brain doesn't do anything, I'm going to go, this person is not good for business. If all your dick is doing is standing to attention when I walk in a room, but you don't think about, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation about X, I'm going to be bad for business.
Yeah, and I just thought about it. It's like, yeah, what is it? But yeah, it's like, well, she is a rapper. So it's like comparing the R&B woman to the rapper is not going to really be fair. That's like, Cardi B doing her thing, but she's not Toni Braxton. Like,
oh, no, it's Toni Braxton. Sorry, it's Toni Braxton. But I digress. But again, you have to and then we're talking to men and women specifically. This is why I'm going hard on the guys today, because generally you're the ones who are supposed to create the plan. So if you are creating a plan, but you're making stops in the hood to pick up hood rats on the way to this plan that you have, is that the hood rat's fault or is that your fault?
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, because I think I would have got in trouble for saying.
Well, saying hood rat?
No, just kind of the way you put that was very matter of fact, though. But that's the fact. Like, how is you really on your plan if you keep sidetracking and messing around and goofing off and.
You're like, yeah, I'm just gonna stop over here. Your driver's like, no, we gotta. Mr. Stevenson, we need to be here now. Oh, no, we'll take a detour. So y'all keep taking detours with hood rats. And then thinking that you can just, after dealing with the hood rat, you can just come back on and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, no, why would you even do that? I think we've seen where the evidence is enough of, again, because you're, all you really can do is raise her profile, or she can pull yours down. There's no way she's boosting your profile. So what are you doing?
Let me repeat it. Stop giving energy and time to women who have nothing to lose but will help you lose everything.
Whole fact, and that's why I'm just like, yo, for real, fellas, we have to be serious. That's why, again, but you see it as videos going out. Women are not very happy that men are kind of sticking to their guns, like, yo, it's certain standards now, and I don't care what I was doing. Like you said, it ain't never too late to do an about face, and fellas is just like, yo, if you're not fitting into the mold of what I'm looking for, you're not willing to jump on my program and see where that take us, then you can keep your tutu.
And listen, and it can be hard to stick to your guns, right? I had a baby at 21 years old. And yes, I didn't marry before I carried, and luckily I had a decent enough relationship with my daughter's father. But after having that baby at 21 years old and realizing how much I had disappointed my father, he was not pleased at all, loves his granddaughter, but was not pleased about the situation I got myself into. And looking at the fact that I didn't want children with different men, I made the very difficult, to some people, decision, was very easy for me, to not have any more children. And in doing so, I had to also make the decision to not date men who wanted children. I had to also make the decision to not get serious with men who didn't have children and wanted children. And so my life was based on that. And at 42, I still only have that one child who came out of my vagina. At 21, I made that decision. And we're basically here 21 years later. I've had to walk away from perfectly good relationships. But again, when they started wanting something that I didn't want, I was like, no, that's not what I want. That's not part of my plan. Having multiple baby daddies was never part of my plan. I saw that hurt in my father's eyes, even be a woman who had a baby daddy. And I was like, I will never see that hurt my father's eye, nor do I ever want to be in a situation where I can't even afford the one child I have. And then now I bring another child, and then I'm splitting family with all of these things. And I worked very hard so that one child lived a really good life. But if I had to split my money that I was making between my child, no, it was never going to happen. So it was hard. It wasn't easy. At 21, I made that decision. It wasn't easy. It was tough. You know what I'm saying? But so for me, when people are like, well, no, it's when you stick to your guns, you don't need to make a detour. When you see a future and where your life is going and it's straight ahead, don't make so. Every time you make a detour off the plan, going somewhere that you know is not good for you, when that plan's derailed, that's your fault. It's who else are you going to blame? The hood rat? Because she's benefiting from you.
Well, that's the whole point of it. And I think, as a rule of, just a way of looking at it, like, again, I mean, I know it's for younger men, but this ain't for younger men necessarily. This is for cats that's on their second relationship, that done got burnt before, that done had failed relationships before. It's like, bro, if you sticking your penis in there, you are kind of putting your future in her hands.
Absolutely.
Like, it's the same situation. Because whether she want to just hit you with some crazy stuff, whether she wants to get pregnant, whatever, it's like, yo, you are giving her access to you in a way that can destroy a man. And y'all can have consensual, and if she just says, I'm going to destroy this man, and says that you assaulted her, you going down, bro.
Facts. And here's the thing. The issue that I'm having is you've got to understand, ladies, I'm going to say this to the ladies and the men I want to hear me. Ladies, just because a man has sex with you doesn't mean he wants forever with you. On the opposite side, men, stop just casually having sex. when you could end up in a forever situation with a woman you didn't want forever with.
Yeah, it cuts both ways. Like I said, they just casual sex is dead, man.
And again, casual raw sex, lot of mercy. There is all of these forms of birth control.
Well, I mean, even that, like that's where the
Just
infamous
spewing
the
your
hot
semen
sauce case
everywhere.
come up.
Jesus,
'Cause,
Father.
like it's just crazy out here, and you wouldn't think that. Like, look, they got to the point where to just have casual sex, you got to be so precautious. It can't be casual. And again, you could live by a different code, and just there's still people that just the pheromones fly and they fall into it. I mean, I'm sure one night stands still happen, but I'm
All the
sure
time.
that's usually more in meeting. Maybe I'm just speaking from a more mature state of mind. You know, are people meeting on the internet and hooking up that night?
Yes. I was just watching a DNA fraternity thing. That's basically they met in the courtyard, smashed that night. She thought he was cute, and now she's on a fraternity case trying to find out who be the baby daddy.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, fellas, we got to do better than that because we try to have casual sex, they try to have casual babies because that means they got access to you for as long as that child is underage.
You are tied to someone forever. So
she got access to you, and vice versa. But I really don't think there's a whole lot of dudes out here trying to get women pregnant because there's not a lot of 5 guys banging 8 chicks, but there's a lot of 5 chicks banging 8 dudes, and that's the dude's fault.
When you said that to me yesterday, I was like, it is so true. That is so true. There is not a lot of 5 guys banging 8 chicks, but there's certainly a lot of 8 guys banging 5 chicks. And then you give them that moment in their life where they can go on Beyonce's internet. Okay, they can go on Beyonce and Blue Ivy's internet and talk about all the men they've been getting and that they deserve this and they deserve that. And you got other men looking like how? Because, thank you, because those good men were deciding that they wanted to dig down this woman because she was available. Available pom pom isn't necessarily good pom pom. Available dick also, ladies, isn't necessarily good dick. I think you have to work for the dick. I think you should put in some work for the dick. I don't think a man should just be willy-nilly because, again, a man who has a plan in the future isn't just trying. Guys might get mad at me, but a man who has a plan in the future isn't just trying to, but especially without a condom.
Because like I said, he's looking at it from the perspective of, I'm putting my future in your hands.
I'm putting my future because you can carry a baby. That ruins my babies. Don't make relationships better. Babies, they don't.
And especially now, we in the Me Too world where, like I said, consensual can turn into assault based on spite.
Absolutely. We've watched enough, we've heard enough situations where men were falsely accused. And again, the media is there when the false accusation is happening. Hello, the Chris Brown situation where she tried to falsely accuse it. Do you think the media took up the story as much when he proved that, no, this girl is on some shit? But they were good to slander his name. They were quick to slander his name. But they weren't quick to do and we apologize because we had believed this freaking woman without actually doing anything about it. So do you really want to, again, stake your future on some pom-pom? Available pom-pom. Ladies, do you want to stake your future on some, and when it comes to kids, again, women, we have choices. Roe versus Wade, unfortunately, is going to change that for the United States of America. But for my Canadian people, we can quickly still get abortions. Whether people like that word or not, whether pro-choice, whatever you want to do, pro-life, the fact of the matter is when women have an okie doke moment, we've got Plan B and we've got the abortion clinic. We do. Y'all, once you ski, what are you going to do? Let me suck the cum back.
That's the part where I'm going to keep it a buck, men get triggered by that. Because like you said, y'all got like 11 options. We got condoms and they don't feel good.
Well, then
but again, they will save your life, bro.
Then stop. If they don't feel good, guys, I'm sorry, stop having sex.
But you cannot trust it. Like I would say, fellas, any woman, you cannot take it for granted that she is unwilling to have your child. And that sounds crazy, and I think the more you got going on, the more likely that is the fact.
But wouldn't that make sense? Of course, again, here's the thing. We need to start, again, fuck your feelings is the name of our show. Let's go back to basic nature. Let's go back to hunters and gatherers. Let's go to the lion kingdom. Do you think the weak lions are the ones that the lioness are going after to have babies? Do you think they want weak babies? No. Do you think the women are there for the men who aren't coming out and collecting the most amount of food when they were hunters and gatherers? Women, biologically, we want a man who's going to take care of our offspring. The women, we're supposed to be the, you said it to me, but again, take it back. The women, we're the beautiful ones in the relationships. Our bodies are shaped a certain way, so we attract the men who've got the means to take care of us, to take care of our offsprings. So therefore, to me, if you are a man that's attracting the multiple women, why would you choose to just chop down every single thing when you know you have so much to lose? Because again, for me, a guy can try and trap me, but I would be quick to go get an abortion without that, not even a second thought. I'd be pregnant, I'm booking the appointment. You don't get to do that. So if you know you have so much to lose, why would you men choose women who are bad for business?
I was listening to, there was a, what's her name, Just Pearly Thing, and she's in the UK. She was doing street interviews, and this one fella got pretty sophisticated with his thought, and he hit me with something that I had not ever considered before, and I was like, wow, that is a very, very interesting way of looking at it. She sat up in Leicester Square with a sign saying feminism is a hate group, to try to provoke conversations, because that's her feeling. She's just like, yo, what is feminism getting me right now? What am I fighting for? What can I do that I can't already do? And again, there's women that are waking up too on certain stuff like that. But anyway, she was talking to a fella, and he was saying, I feel what you're saying with the feminism is a hate group, and they started talking about, yeah, because they hate men. He's like, on a certain level, I agree with that, but I don't think that's what feminism is about anymore. I believe feminism hates femininity. The war is on mama, because she's been abused and weak and had no choice, and we need to save her and rescue her. That's what this Roe v. Wade overturnment is about. Like, look, the federal government is trying to tell women you can't make good decisions on your own anymore, so you need someone to make them for you. And it ain't gonna be your man. And that's why, again, y'all celebrating and getting all crazy about certain stuff, but to me, it's very interesting, because I think now a woman that says I'm a feminist is kind of batshit crazy. Like, what is going on with you? Because it's not, y'all done neutered men. We're ballsless in the public space. You can't do nothing to a woman in public without being reprimanded. Now, with that being said, they got us where they want us. They coming after you.
No, they're definitely coming after you.
They hate you.
That's why the terms like pygmisha. That's why women are triggered when other women talk about them being submissive to their men. And what does that mean? And wants us to define what that is.
They hate you because they ain't you.
Right? Define what it means to be submissive. What do you mean you get up and make his breakfast and iron his clothes and make sure he's good and tell him where his socks is in his belt and he can't find it and books his appointments and do all of that? What does he do for you? Are your needs being met? No, my wants are. I don't give a fuck about my needs. Right? Because again, we were watching a segment the other day and a woman was proudly talking about how she gets joy out of making sure that her man is taken care of. She finds joy out of that. And I think she said something that triggered a lot of people when she says she's happy when her man goes to sleep before her, because she knows he's at, kind of at ease, he's at rest. I feel the same way. I understand the burdens that Rob carries. And so when Rob is soundly sleeping, I know that he's not worrying about all of the things and carrying the ones and the twos and making sure that the family's running. He's at ease. And I actually sleep better when Rob falls asleep before me. My worries are not the same as his. And so when he's at rest, I'm like, I'm good.
And that's why I would just say, like, yo, ladies, because again, these women are representing y'all. If you need to ask some of these feminist chicks, like, what are they fighting for?
Nothing.
Because again, y'all got men where you want them. We on the ropes.
And there's nothing that we cannot do right now. Again, 40 years ago, when women couldn't vote, 40, 50 years ago, when women couldn't vote, when, the only thing they can say that right now they're trying to do for is equal pay, right? Because there's a pay disparity. I would say that that's maybe the one legitimate claim that feminists can have is that there's a pay disparity.
And let me straighten the public record too on something, man. Because right now the narrative is being kind of pushed. It's like men telling women what to do with their body. Look, Roe v. right there and get over to again. Who organizes political movements?
Women.
So why y'all trying to act like we did this? How many women are on the SCOTUS?
I know there's at least one. The white lady. I forgot what her name is. I know there's at least one.
But again, I know the woman behind the movement to overturn Roe v. Wade is also the same woman who founded Planned Parenthood. And I say Google her a little bit and research her background and see if that's really somebody that you want representing you.
Oh, not the research word.
Oh yeah, I forgot. People don't like to do.
No, people don't research. A woman made it very clear. People don't research. I just form opinions, but I won't actually research the basis of my opinion.
Nothing.
So, anyways, we're gonna get to the point of the show where we do some question and answers. We want to thank everybody who's applaud Robert, who has participated so far. We probably have time for about 3 questions each because I'm getting hungry. So you go first.
Is there anything you're superstitious about, even though you know it isn't real? Like ghosts and shit like that. Like I don't believe in it, but I don't not believe in it. So
ghosts are real.
I don't play around with stuff. Like I've never looked in the mirror in the dark bathroom and said candy.
Oh, don't even say it now. Don't even say it now.
I just don't do. I never played with a Ouija board. I don't just. Yeah, that's not my wheelhouse. Period.
And ghosts are real, but I'll get to that another time.
No, you're Jamaican.
Whatever. What's something childish you still love to do as an adult? Skip. I actually really like skipping. I don't do it often, but every once in a while. I think I've done it with you a few times. You're just like, I actually really enjoy skipping. Go ahead.
Who was your childhood best friend? Do you stay in touch? I don't even know if I really had like a childhood best friend because we bounced around a lot when I was younger. But I stay in touch with many of my friends from like high school and childhood and stuff like that. But I don't really know if I had like a best friend that early.
But what isn't childhood still in your teens? Or are you considering like
you're
a child until you're 18?
I'll say like my best friend at that point, like probably Bozzy, and we still stay in touch.
There you go. So you did have a childhood best friend.
Yeah, that's my dog. Still.
If you could describe our relationship in 3 words, what would they be? So the first one would be respectful. The second one would be cooperative. And the third, I would say, is ambitious. I think we're both ambitious. So I'd say respectful, cooperative, and ambitious would describe our relationship.
You're awesome.
I guess you got a sexy question.
No, it's like you were in your feelings writing these questions or something. Like not in a bad way, but you were definitely wanting to like be a little gushy. How did you know that you were in love with me?
Give me the question.
Are you on it?
No, that's your question. How did you know that you were in love with me?
I've already told you on several times, but like I said, I think men don't really look at it like y'all do as like it's a line and I stepped over it and looked back. It's like, yeah. But I would probably say, like I said, the conversation that we had of just you being able to represent me without audible and stuff like that. I knew that I was taking you serious. Yeah, maybe I knew when I was taking you serious over when I knew I was in love with you.
Next, I don't really fall.
Sometimes the way you be acting, I still don't be like, I'm not sure about it. You know what I mean?
Robert!
I love you very much.
No dick sucking for you tonight. And I continue. Do you ever wish you took a different path in life? Yes, since Robert, if he's in love with me, I think a different path is not moving here to be with his ass. That's a different path you should take in life.
Oh
Okay.
God. Do you think there is such a thing as a harmless lie? Now, lies are lies. But what I would say on that is the converse of it is don't ask a question you don't really want the truth to, because that person might adopt that, might have that philosophy and actually tell you. So yeah, if it's gonna hurt your feelings, don't ask. Is that really my baby?
Oh Jesus.
She might tell you the truth.
But why wouldn't you want to know? First of all, if you have to be asking if that's my baby, then you should be.
I know for a fact there's some guys that they would not even want to know. They'd rather just go on the presumption that it is.
So they'd rather raise a baby that may not be theirs than find out the truth?
There is men that would rather live in a questionable reality than have a fractured reality.
So they're not even raising their legacy. Like, your children are your legacy. They're your DNA. They carry your genes. They're the next generation. Like, why would you want to raise another man's child thinking it's your own?
DNA and feelings, and I'm willing to bet that every time a guy does that, it comes back to bite his ass.
See, I'm very practical about children.
I'm telling you, man, men get that's the biggest lie the world has ever told, is that men don't got no baggage or don't get hurt or don't get banged up or don't have no feelings about failed, messed up, jacked up relationships either. Like, yo, you don't know how bad, but it's the way that men get used in a different way than women get used. Men get abused in a different way than women get abused. Men get hurt in a different way than women do. You know what I mean? So if you're only looking for the ways that you get hurt, abused, or done wrong or done dirty, you'll never see the stuff that you're doing to me.
Yeah, that's what we fuck our feelings.
And have conversations about this shit.
But I just want to go back to that for a second. So you know men, or been in circles with men, who would be perfectly fine with raising a child that may not be theirs, and so they will not even ask the mama if that's their child, even if they have doubt. So they're raising someone else's genetics. Like, I would hope that my father would want to know.
They value. I'm telling you, it's a lot of dudes that's been in jacked up relationships because of children, step parents, bro. Man, it's that again, the biggest lie that ever told is like, yo, many men have made the mistake of being. Again, I know this dude getting all this flack for only bringing the food for one kid, but he's handling his business, in my opinion, exactly how he's supposed to be handling it. You don't get benefits to me and everything that comes with me unless you're with me. And especially if I've made the determination that I'm not messing with you no more.
Facts. You don't get benefits from me if I'm not with you.
Like, and I don't see why, and especially, but again, like, that's why, like, it's so much wackiness going on. Because, like, that's how they kind of let the cat out of the bag full circle on the interview back, is when she was like, oh, he still be trying to smash. And I was just like, what is wrong with him? I didn't think nothing about her when she said
that's what I said to you.
Instantly went to, what is wrong with him?
But again, she might be lying. And again, it might be the fault of her case.
She said she's about to expose him. And so this is also probably her first time behaving in this way towards him as far as recording him. Like I said, he's always been bringing just food for the boy.
Well, except when they were together, she felt that. And the kids are mourning the breakup of their relationship. Well, that sounds like a you problem.
That seems like you need to explain to your children why that man ain't in the house no more. That ain't for him to explain.
Yeah, the world is messed up. My last question. What's something you'd like to try doing but haven't worked up the nerve yet? Skydiving, because I am deathly freaking afraid of heights. Skydiving and zip lining are two things that I want to do. And I think probably our very first vacation, I'll probably do the zip lining. The skydiving might take years to come because I am deathly afraid of heights, so it ain't going to happen. But let's go back, because we're done with the question. Let's go back to that. So for me, it is like, how much are we allowing our feelings to fuck up the life that we could live?
A lot.
Because that doesn't make any sense to me. That does, and again, I'm the product of an affair. And I would hope if my father had any doubts about my paternity, that he would have done I was born in 79, so there was no paternity test, but later on in life, he would have checked. because you're going to raise somebody else's genetics. What if I get sick and all of these different things and I'm trying to get things to my parents only to find out that that's not my father? That's terrible for me. And I'm carrying on this lie of from generation to generation. That's being in feelings. And to me, that's whack as shit.
Man, mandatory DNA testing on newborns, it'll clean society up so much, and it would expose the fuckery on the birthday. And they would just, again, and why is that they're going to be resistance to that? Because who would be impacted by something like that most?
The women.
Exactly.
Women would be impacted. And God forbid we live in a world where
you actually have to know and tell the dude who actually knocked you up, I'm pregnant. Not, I'm banging Paul, but Clifford is going to be a better dad, so I'm just going to tell Clifford.
Well, that's what I was going to say. A lot of the times when women are dating multiple men and having sex with multiple, they choose who the father is because he could be a better father.
I'm glad you said
so Pookie and Ray, if you're doing a Pookie versus a Russell Wilson, which generally you shouldn't be doing, but let's give an example. There's no science. You're going to go with the Russell Wilson because he's got his life together and so forth. And again, I don't blame her. I blame the Russell Wilson who would be in a situation with a woman who would even put him in that situation.
I can't argue that logic either. That's why I say, man, we got to do better. We got to really, like, that's why the black community is falling off, because the standards of black men have fallen off. And pretty much that's what all of the great black leaders have been saying since the jump, is ever since we got our quote unquote freedom, we lost our goddamn mind. We were better behaved as slaves. We had less social strife. We were more united as slaves. And that's crazy.
Here is the funny part. This is quickly before we go, so we're going to jump off. If you guys watch the Kendra G show, there's a man on Kendra G that had to delete his Instagram.
Oh, yeah, he wanted too much.
Because how dare he had standards, okay?
But Jordan Wallace can have all the standards she wants.
But let me explain what this man's standards were, because the accusation was he wanted a white woman, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So he said he didn't want weaves, he didn't want wigs, he didn't want all them crazy lashes, them raptor claw fingernails. He wanted, he was very particular. He didn't want women. He wanted a woman of a certain age. He wasn't trying to bring no woman with no children. He had older kids. He wanted to actually restart a family. People got on him for that. No, actually, I think he had no kids. Let me get that right. I think he had no kids. And the fact that he wouldn't accept a woman who had kids was also a bad thing. So instead of women coming who met his standards in his Instagram, all the women who did not meet his standards DM'd him, were putting comments on his Facebook, were putting comments on his Instagram about, you clearly want a white woman and you clearly want this. They were all up in their feelings because this black man dared to have standards.
I'm glad you said that too about the raptor nails, because he was spitting some facts on that. Like, y'all do that for, like, her. You see her nails, right? She don't be doing all of that. Women, y'all do that for each other. Like, no man wants them raptor claws anywhere near his penis.
Oh no.
I'm being real.
Oh, I didn't think about that now. You know what?
He's over there like, oh God, I hope she doesn't slip.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wish you adieu.
And again, dude, stop putting yourself in that situation too. That's why I was talking about the standards. If you don't want it, don't deal with it. If you don't want it, don't deal with it.
I never even thought about that. And I love, listen, for your sister's wedding, I'm definitely going to go to the...
here and there.
Yeah, for your sister's wedding, but on a regular, I can't even write my books. Like, I can't actually type properly to write the books and do the things that I do if I've got the salon. Or for special occasions, we're going to his sister's wedding in September, I will definitely go to the nail salon and have them up, but then I'll take them back off. Never really thought about it when you're doing this, because I could scrape your nail, your penis, your wall, something.
Man, them things are so not functional, man.
Yeah, they're not very functional at all. Like, to be able to get stuff done, it's not.
You ain't doing that for me.
I am actually not doing that for you. A lot of this stuff is that you don't like the lashes and
each other. Y'all, trust me. The dudes that say they like that are pandering.
And with that, I want to thank our sponsor, Sorrel and Sage. Make sure you're visiting them at shopsorrelandsage.com on their website, and Sorrel and Sage CA on Instagram. They sell self-care items for the sensitive soul. All their products are made by the owner. They're amazing products, and we are waiting for our next shipment. And
Yes,
she
my
surprised me.
custom fragrance.
Oh my gosh, she should surprise me, and she named one of the products after me. I just found out the other day. Shiva. Yeah, it is. So there's going to be a Shiva product out there in the world, guys. I'm
It
just
doesn't need
saying.
to be a Robert, but I would like that custom fragrance. I've been hearing about.
Okay, so we'll have to let Sorrel and Sage job. Guys, make sure that you go check them out. And yes, she can customize your beard oil depending on the scent that you want. So go to shop.sorrelandsage.com or Sorrel and Sage CA. And as you can see, she put the fire emojis out there, so you know it's good.
I forgot what I was smelling, but I realized I do like wood and cologne.
Okay, he does like wood and cologne. Okay, thank you, Sam. So again, like we like to say, if you bring a little fuck your feelings into your life, you might just stay together. So we will see you next week, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.